Hey guys, it's Maria.
This is Tim.
Today is Sunday, June the 24th, 2018. Welcome to our weekly recap.
Maria, another exciting week this week. Go ahead and give us our closing numbers.
Sure, the Dow closed the day up 119 points on Friday and closed at 24,580. Nasdaq was down 20 points and closed at 7692, and the S&P 500 was up 5 points and closed at 2754.
So we've got not as many small caps to go over this week. Got a couple. I did want to talk about TRXC first and foremost because we've been talking about this was the first stock under $5 we ever discussed back when we wrote the Pulse. We talked about it probably almost every webinar and how we're always going to be attached to it because it was the first, the first thing under $5 we ever wrote about or talked about even on the webinars. So this may not be under $5 soon, so we might be able to say we might have everything off the list of under $5. But TRXC, watch this one. I got in trouble this week because every day I put out a nightly watch list of stuff we bought and are holding, blah blah blah. And the IR person just totally freaked out because I had it on some list, like we were some pumper or something. I'm not sure exactly what that was about, but regardless, we've been talking about this since October 15th of last year when it first got FDA approval. Haven't stopped talking about it. The $5 is your 52-week high. If we bust that, I expect a pretty nice move. You're busting an older 52-week high, and you're busting a whole round number. So anytime you can do those things together, this thing could run. We've got options in it. We've got calls in it. Also got stock in the company. So anyway, keep an eye on TRXC.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am still holding my October $4 calls. So I love TRXC. I love the company. I think that there are really good things to come for them. So we will definitely keep watching it.
The only other one that, and this isn't a low float, but it's one that we've been talking about for a few months here, TNDM. Let's go ahead and pull that one up too. TNDM, because we've been, God, I don't know how many dollars back. Yeah, I think it was under 10 when we started talking about this one.
We really kind of have to look at I know it's really old, but we kind of have to look at a 5-year chart to even get an idea. It looks like we finally turtled, what Tim likes to call turtling. So we just busted through a little bit of resistance. There is a little bit more resistance at the top of this wick over here on the right around 2560. Let's say 2550 to 2560. So definitely want to keep an eye on that level as a level we need to get over.
And this one had some news last week too, Maria, on, I want to say Thursday.
Let's look and see. Let me see. So on a Thursday, I know that they had, was that the 22nd?
Thursday would have been the 21st.
Oh, okay. So Friday, sorry, Friday, they got a price target upgrade at Piper Joffrey. So 25, well, that's a nice upgrade. 25 from 13. And then they had FDA approval on the 21st, which was Thursday. So this was their X2 insulin pump.
Yeah, so I expect TNDM to go ahead and keep. I think it'll turtle through that next resistance, and then we'll see what happens after that. But yeah, keep an eye on TNDM. We've been saying it for a few months here, and obviously TRXC. Let's get into some bigger stocks and some options. Do want to talk about some tariff stocks that are getting down to what we call support levels. Maria, that's going to be Boeing, Cat, and John Deere. And you can start in any order you want to there.
Here's a 1 year on Boeing. I love this line right here. And that line's it's in the 330s. So I have that line at 335.35. We're closed a little bit higher than that on Friday, closed at 338.91. But it kind of looks like we're going to bounce right here. We'll see. I do want that to hold as support underneath there. Obviously, I'd love an entry in the 320s even better, but I do think this 330 has potential to hold.
Yeah, we may take a shot on this one. This is one, if the tariff stuff calms down, cooler heads prevail, yada, yada. This is one that we will be, that will move. That will move if this calms down. Another one, Caterpillar. Now, last quarter, and we made a mistake with this one. We were actually long. Actually did okay with that long, but the conference call was at like 10 o'clock that morning, and they used the words high watermark for the year. Stock starts tanking, and we're like, what the hell's going on? And it was, one of those mid-morning conference calls. So the stock had got back up to there, even to where, their high watermark levels, and has been coming back down again over tariff news. Now, tariff news obviously affects it. We get that. If, and we're not saying this will, but you can see across there this line that Maria has. If cooler heads prevail and all this shit stops, then this may be an area we're looking to push to pick up and take a small chance at cat.
I love cat under 140. I think that's a really, really nice entry area. Plenty of room to move. Obviously, as Tim was saying, tariff news could definitely affect it.
Maria, another one, John Deere. People just think, oh, John Deere, cotton pickers, tractors, America. This has international exposure as well and tariff exposure. So this is another one that I believe has been getting hit from this. So you've got support at what price there?
It is right around, it's like 143-ish, roughly 143, plus or minus a couple pennies. I like Deere a lot. I think that, again, it definitely has potential to move plenty of space up to that 52-week high. I really like Deere a lot. So we do need to keep an eye on it. And just like with the other ones, they're at support levels and I really like them. However, they're ones that if we decide to play, we will play very cautiously.
And we'll play further out as well. 135 is possible on John Deere too, just looking at this.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, 135.
The dotted line. So an entry there, I'd probably just go ahead and have to take a chance. But we'll see what we get. But this one, John Deere, Boeing, Caterpillar, these are on, I don't want to say heavy watch this week, but we're definitely, and if we do anything, obviously when we announce it in the room, and we will also probably put it in trade ideas. If we're comfortable with it, we'll put it in trade ideas. And we get asked that a lot too, is what's the difference between the ones you announce in the room and the ones on trade ideas? The ones on trade ideas, if we put it in there at 10 o'clock this morning and then you don't come in until after lunch at 1 o'clock, we feel it's still safe, right? You could probably buy this one the next day and it's probably still safe. So once we announce in the room, we're trying to catch a spike. We're doing something very short term. We don't want you to see it 2 or 3 hours late because there again, we don't want you chasing something that the entries, already went up too much on. So granny plays, which is your slow movers, that we plan on staying in for a while. Let's go and trade ideas. The rest of them usually just get called out on voice. And if you miss those, you miss them for a reason. We do not want people chasing entries. Those are those three. Maria, this week we added a few things. Twitter. We've seen a lot of buying for the 47s for August. We went ahead and bought 46s for 727. Weird week. Normally we would do monthly expiration, but we wanted to catch ER. And, not that we'll hold through ER because we're not real big on doing that, but we did get 46s for 727. We are up in those. We picked those up Thursday. You also had an opportunity on it on Friday, but a lot of buying into the August 47s. That started Thursday.
And I actually have multiple strikes on Twitter right now. Don't ask me why. Don't really have a reason, but I'm green, so I'm happy. The line that I really, really want Twitter to hold is roughly 43.50. Let's say 43 to 43.50. I would love to see it hold there. Looks like we're getting a little bit of consolidation up here at the top. This green line is your high, 47.79. So I still like it, but we did pick those up. We are green, and we will look to sell before ER.
One that we ER play that we bought Thursday, and I'm still laughing about this one. Kind of, we bought some 36-cent calls. But this is one of those trade ideas because we was going to swing it overnight, and I think we closed right at even. But we expected a gap on KR, which Maria loves to call K Rogers, which is Kroger's. First time she told me, she goes, "I got to go to K Rogers." I'm like, "You're doing what?" Yeah.
K Rogers.
So we did, pick those up in, 35, 36, and we kind of 100% on Friday. We did get a gap on it. We figured it would hit 30. It did hit 30 to the penny and bounced off. I was really hoping it would go through 30. Then we could have made some money and looked at that 52-week high. But since it didn't go through 30, we did sell those. And a bunch of people in the room. I think we picked up a couple $100 of this. It's very, very unlike us. It was just some weird, odd play. But if this one does get through 30, I know, Maria, you got a gap there. But if it does get through 30, what's the 52 on this K Rogers?
I agree. I definitely agree with that.
And AMD, we are still in the 17s for January. We actually, because we had a starter position, bought a few more. When did we get those? Thursday or Friday? We added, I think it was Thursday, actually. That's when it dropped under 16. So we got to finish out our position there. Well, I say finish out. We're holding about 75% of what we'd like to hold. If this thing does break 15, we will add to that. We followed a lot of flow on AMD. Back in the 10s, we bought 13s for January. crushed those. And we did see rollouts to, I believe it was $20 for January. So we
Right.
feel comfortable still in our 17s. We got plenty of time, so we'll see what happens. So we did add to that. Maria, pick one here.
Let's look at the Qs real quick, since, we're looking at some tech stuff. So here are the Qs. Hit a high of 177.98. That is an all-time high. Kind of bouncing off of that, which is to be expected. Anytime something hits a 52-week high or an all-time high, I automatically assume that people are going to take profit. So I really want the Qs to hold. There's a dotted line, which is roughly 173.20-ish. So let's say 173 to 173.25 is really where I'd like to see it hold. Friday we closed at 175.32. There is a little bit of support above this 173.25, but 173.25 is actually the line that I'm keeping a closer eye on.
I agree with that, definitely. For you Q traders out there. Maria, Facebook. This is
Facebook.
one that, yeah, we've been talking about for a couple weeks. Get low 180s. Yeah, it's all them circles down there, 176 something. So we actually put this in the granny playroom. We were buying the 195s for July 20th. And when it got up to, 202, 203, we went ahead and sold those
Yep.
because they were just so far in the money. There was some flow that had came in last week that Trader09 had seen come through. I believe it was rollouts where somebody was rolling out to 240s for September. Mathematically, as we said on the last webinar last Sunday, that didn't really add up to us. Hey, listen, that works for them. I'm not knocking anybody else's play by any means. Just as a room, the 240s were just way too far out for us. So we went with 215s last week. Those are kicking ass because, Facebook keeps popping these all times. We're seeing then Friday, if you can pull this up, Maria, there was the big spread Friday for August on Facebook. So there is a lot of money going into 230s, 240s, August, September. We went ahead and went with 215s. If I get a dip back around 200 on Facebook, I'm probably going to do some adding to this position. But we killed those 195s. I forget what that was. It was 395. I think I'd have to go look, but probably closer to $8.5, $9 out of those. So that was a good room and another good play and another example of granny plays where we're comfortable putting it in there. And even if you chased it a few hours later or the next day, you still had plenty of time on that trade. And that's what we love to put in trade ideas. Yeah, so Facebook will be on the spreads, but there was a fly.
Yeah, I wanted to show the flow, just overall, the call flow. So it was really nicely. Here is the aggressive spread. So it looks like they were the August 230, 240 call spread. They were bought for 80 cents. That spread traded more than 9K on open and opened both legs. So it says the position captures earnings in late July and offers a max payout if shares rally another 20% to 240 or better through the August expiration in 8 weeks. And I like Facebook. I like what it's doing. So we are still currently holding those 215s.
People ask us, why did you sell the 195s? Once you get so far in the money, really kind of just go up a one for one and it becomes more like a stock replacement. Not that there's anything wrong with those 195s. We just like to see a little bit more juice on the options contract. So we had killed that play. We had moved on to a different strike, different month, and it was time to go. But Maria, just monster call. We actually argued about Facebook probably a month ago or 2 months ago when you seen that, and I didn't want to talk about it in the webinar. You won. We did talk about it. I shouldn't have disagreed with you then, and this is my second public apology on Facebook with you. You were 100% right on that one.
And you were right on KR. I didn't like KR. I was like, okay. You say so.
It happens. All right, what you got next on there, girl?
Let's go to Amazon. Let's do Amazon. So here is Amazon. Man, what a monster couple of weeks, right? Let me go 10 days. 1679 is the 10-day low. So 1679 up to 1763, almost a 100-point move. Let me go back to the yearly. We are watching that all-time high, 1763. I'm going to have to expand in a little bit. 1700. I have a couple of, lines above 1700 that I am keeping an eye on. However, ultimately, 1700, where this bottom dotted yellow line is really where I want to see Amazon hold. We had a hard time getting through that 1700. We finally got through it. We need to hold it. And, we do have some things coming up. We have Prime Day, which I guess is going to be the 16th of July. Don't know if it's going to do well on Prime Day, but if I remember correctly, I believe that it typically ramps up ahead of it. So, and then we have ER also, end of July. So we are in some calls for Amazon that we will get out of ahead of Prime Day.
We actually had, and this was a good swing. This is one that we had in the granny room too, because we kept getting all that flow and suicide type flow. So we bought some 1750s for July, and shit, the next day we just killed it on it. So we went ahead and sold them. I mean, we just literally killed it. And we bought a 1800, I believe, which we did not put in trade ideas because we knew that was risky, out of the money. But we're talking, 3 or 4%. Actually, at the time we bought it, we were talking a couple percent, which I don't consider dangerously out of the money. This is Amazon. So we are still holding that. We are down in that one. But then again, it was profit off of the other one. Not that that matters because that makes it our money when we win it. It's, so it's still a down position. So, but I agree, it does usually ramp up into prime. I think it sells off right after prime, and then a few days later ramps back up. But with ER so close after that, that one's going to be interesting.
I agree.
So we do still have a position in Amazon. Maria, go ahead and hit NVIDIA, one of your faves. I wouldn't dream of talking about this one.
Here's the NVIDIA chart. Okay, I am still in NVIDIA. I have calls for August 270s and 260s that I bought in the 250s. So I am actually just slightly red on those. Nothing horrible. I'm actually not horribly red on those, surprisingly enough, but they are red. And I really want NVIDIA to hold 250. And I believe on Friday, oh, there it is. Friday we closed at 250.95. Really want 250 to hold. Could we break it? Absolutely. If we do break it underneath that, the next area of support that I have is 246. It's in between 245 and 246.
I agree with that. I may actually pick up some NVIDIA down here.
It's not a bad spot.
Not a bad spot at all. Maria, while you're on bigger stocks, got anything else out there?
Google. Let's look at Google. Google's had an amazing couple of weeks too. Let's look at
That's
the
when we
trend.
we were playing some suicide flow on recently too.
The 20
Yeah,
day. So 20-day low is it was after hours, but roughly 1061. So from 1061 up to 1201 is now the new all-time high to a 149. So that's a lot of points. That's definitely a lot of points. And we are watching this. The area that I really would like for Google to hold is 1155. 1155 is
and,
where I need to see it hold.
and the reason for the 1155, if you look back right after that bottom, 5 or 6 days later, you kind of peaked out there, sold off just a little bit. It probably looks worse on the chart than it is. Thank you for drawing that circle there. Consolidated, cupped, came back to it, kind of flat topped across there again. She's going to put another circle. You rock, Maria. But when you broke out of that, which was started last week, but then this week it really just started kicking ass on it. Those are just monster plays because you broke out of that, that resistance across there. That becomes now your new support. So that's why she is now watching that line. Oh yeah. Good circle, girl. Thank you.
Nice consolidation through there. Definitely with support down through here. Took off, hit that high 1201, sold off since. However, we hit this bottom over here on Friday, which is roughly 11. It's right above 1159. I'm definitely keeping an eye on that 1155. I'm not currently swinging any calls on Google, but I am tempted to pick some up.
I'm with you on that too. Here's one that we probably got a million people asking us about. And by the way, I got probably 50 DMs that I'll answer later, but I'll go ahead and answer them here. Kim, what do you see the market doing next week? My answer is opening. It's going to open. I don't know what it's going to do. I love it. Truly don't know what it's going to do. We're all just guessing at this point. I will say this. Last weekend, I was way more bullish going into this week because of the flow that was coming in. I mean, we seen just short-term go-getter, whether it was spec or what. There was a lot of money coming in at some shorter-term stuff that told us this week was probably going to be hella bullish. We didn't end the same. This week's flow did not end like last week's, which is, one of the fun things about the flow. It's never really the same, and you kind of have to adjust to it as you go. So we went from playing shorter-term stuff to now we're probably going to be playing some longer-term stuff. And that's what happens. You could just see tech flow. And now you may have to pick some individuals individual stocks in tech, but it was good, So the market will open. That's my prediction. But going to MU, the old black box adage, and we had one quarter where this screwed us up. I don't remember if it was last quarter or the quarter before, is sell the day before ER. Just sell it or the day of ER, and preferably usually 4 or 5 days ahead of it, but definitely sell before. And the old adage is just short it. Just when you sell it, go short. Now, there was that one quarter it screwed us up. And like I said, I don't remember if that was last quarter or the quarter before. Generally speaking, we pick up MU stock 6 weeks to the day. And I've said this on this webinar. This isn't the first time y'all have heard it. It's not the first time I've posted about it. If you pick it up 6 weeks to the date before ER and just shut your eyes and forget you own it, 99% of the time you end up very, very well. But during that 6 weeks, up till that, you get a lot of drops. You get a lot of MU bottoms. I love MU long term. I'm an MU bull. I'm not trashing MU. I'm telling you historically, and as traders, we need to identify patterns. And just because I'm a long-term bull doesn't mean I can't recognize short-term patterns and say, okay, this is what the stock historically does. So even though I'm a bull, and I may be a BABA bull and, still go short, and I've had some people in the room give me shit. It's like, man, I know you're a long-term bull. Why are you doing puts today? Because the chart tells me to do puts today. I'm not going to I'm not going to let my long-term vision of BABA or MU detract me from putting puts on it short-term, because I see an opportunity there. I'm a trader. It's my job to trade, and I try not to let, we call ourselves bells, which is a bearish bull. We don't care. I just want the market to open. I don't really care if it's down, up, sideways. Pick out a bunch of long-term positions. We know how to short the Qs and some other things to handle losses in the account. So, yes, MU long-term bull, short-term, I don't know. Short-term, it's in that 6-week zone for me.
Yep, I agree. The immediate area of support that I am watching on MU is 56.40. So 56.40, keep your eye on that. Obviously, plus or minus a couple of cents or 10, 15 cents. But I'm keeping an eye there. Kind of like it there. Could it go lower? Absolutely. I do like this dotted line a little bit better, which is around 52.85. So a lot of different levels, but just like Tim said, buy it 6 weeks ahead of ER.
And I've seen that work out so many times. I think this last quarter, it was 1 day late or possibly 2 days late. I don't remember the bottom. And because I remember it was on that Monday. Right, that Monday, everybody's in the room going, hey, today is MU day, today is MU day. And I remember it just clear as day. It was on a Monday, and I said, I think it had gapped up, and I said, you know what, let me see by Wednesday if it's turned back to where we can get it, pre-gap here, and it just kept running all week. So it was 2 days early this quarter. But everybody in the room's conditioned to do it. They know when the 6 weeks comes up. Maria, anything else?
Square. We talked about Square yet?
We have not talked about Square. I love Square. And I hope to get an entry on Square. What you got here?
I'm still in Square. I'm still in Square. So I have calls for Square that are way in the money. Actually sold some of them. I sold some of them on the way up and just holding, I think I have 160 for July, $160 call for July still open. I saw some flow for $70, I believe it was July calls last week. And I did add just a couple starter positions. Those are red because I was chasing it. And that happens every now and then. So, let's see what happens with it. Oh, I know what it was. The flow on those 70s was for this coming week. I went out to July. I gave it a little bit more time just in case. We hit that high of 69.40. I really like it. Where do I want to see it hold? Roughly 62.50 to 63 is where I want to see Square hold.
I agree with that. And I'm hoping that next week when we do this webinar that TRXC is above $5. And not that we won't have not that we won't discuss stocks under $5 here, but those are trades or scalps or setups. Those aren't investments, right? So TRXC, hopefully, and then it can join TRXC and AMRS will be our only two stocks under 10.
Exactly. And aside from those, there are a couple of events this weekend, or this week, I should say, that we want everyone to be aware of and know about. We have Baidu has their analyst day on the 25th, which is Monday. ACAM has their analyst day on the 26th, and then CMG has their business update call on 6/27, and BIIB Biogen has their business update call on 6/28. Aside from that, that's all I have. Tim, do you have anything else?
I don't. We will be here next Sunday. We may even start sneaking in another one or two during the week. We might try to do something through the week, but for sure we'll be back next Sunday.
Yeah. And
Oh,
guys, if you have not had a trial with us and want to come trade with us, please do so. You can always hit us up on StockTwits Twitter. You can put comments in the YouTube or in the YouTube comments. If you want a free trial, we will get you in. Come hang out with us, see what we do, and see what we can learn from you and what you can learn from us.
yeah, I think that last trial we just did had 132 people in it. And what's funny is we had people going yearly after 2 days. They're like, I don't need to finish the trial. We'll just go, and they're going yearly after 2 days. So yeah, come hang out with us. It's a week. We don't get a credit card from you or anything else. It's kind of just the old trust thing, it's we kick you out after a week, and we've had a couple of people sneak back in. Generally, we know it, but as a general rule, everybody's pretty cool and honest about it, and most people sign up anyway. So because we don't
Right.
always run trials, but when we get enough requests, we'll go ahead and get one out there. So if you ever want one, let us know. We got you.
And here's the other thing that's kind of different about our trials. I didn't realize this until like a week or two ago. Our trials, you actually can talk to us. Like we don't put you on mute or anything like that. You come in and you're with the rest of the members, and you do have the ability to interact with us and talk to us and ask us questions and stuff like that. So our trial works a little bit differently. We give you complete full access to everything. So if you've not given it a try, please go ahead and let us know and we'll get you in.
And that's it.
All right,
Thank you,
guys.
everybody.
That's it. Thank you. Tomorrow or this week, stay green. Let the setup come to you. I've dealt with more than several traders, and I feel like the common theme right now is we're not being patient. So you have to let the setup come to you. Don't force a trade. Let the setup come to you. Stay green, and we will see you next week. Oh, also, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please go ahead and do so. If you've not liked this video yet, please go ahead and like it. And please go ahead and share both our channel and our video with everyone. Aside from that, guys, have a great night. Take care. We'll see you next week. Bye.